Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden. We are mid-October. The temperatures have dropped. In a couple of days we're going to finally drop into the 30s, which is actually a little bit early for our season. Usually we don't hit the 30-degree weather until the second week in November. So a little chillier than we're used to, but it's only going to be for a couple of hours and then it's going to go right back up into the 60s. But I'm really excited to see how it all goes. Today we're going to be planting Foxglove and Campanula seedlings. We're also going to be dividing some perennials and we're going to be doing some pruning on my boxwood and Spirea. Okay, as you can see, the garden is producing heavily right now. If you didn't check out my October garden tour, I'll drop that link below in the video description. Be sure to go check that out so you can see what all's growing right now. But it is absolutely beautiful. I have been harvesting flowers like crazy, which is beautiful and fun. And I feel like now I'm in a race for the cooler weather. So that's very, very exciting. I'm doing pretty good. I've got most of the stuff planted that I want to get planted. I have some few stragglers that I need to get taken care of. So today we're going to be working on the Foxglove and Campanula blooms, or excuse me, seedlings that I grew from seed. We're going to be putting them in the raised garden, but let me show you what I'm going to be removing and why I'm going to be removing it first. Okay, so down here I have carnations or dianthus, and I got all these seeds from Floret, and the varieties are Carnation Chabot La France, Chabot Orange Sherbert, and Chabot Aurora. And they really didn't do much of anything this year. I am finally getting some blooms. Oh, look at that. It's got a little bumblebee tucking his head in there. I'm getting some blooms, but the stems are all wonky. I'm not enjoying it. The carnations are not as large as I thought it would be. Like, here's one that's kind of getting that direction. But the stems are so, ugh, I'm just not liking it. It's not working well as a cut flower for me. So I'm not going to just keep trying to push it on. Now, if you guys have grown these varieties and you have a suggestion, let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and pull these, and then I'm going to be planting the Foxglove and Campanula right here. So let's go ahead and get that knocked out. Okay, so the soil feels pretty loose. One thing that's really good to see is I'm seeing a lot of worms in here, which is really great. This looks nice. Okay, I'm going to be planting my Foxglove fairly close together. Remember, I'm utilizing them as cut flowers, not as something quote-unquote in my garden. I'm going to be working all the way to the side. I planted these other perennials over here, Boltonia and David's Phlox. Okay, for Foxglove, I'm growing 3 varieties, Foxglove Excelsior, Foxglove Alba, and Foxglove Dalmatian Peach. Growing everything from seed. I started all these inside. They've been outside for several weeks now. I've been meaning to get them in the garden for a while. So basically I'm just going to come in. I'm just going to pop my seedlings in, tuck them in. I'm not super worried about adding a bunch of fertilizer because this is just glorious. So let me just add some across the top. These beds are set up for drip lines. Another reason I chose this bed to plant them is this bed has not decreased significantly in the amount of soil that's in it. You can see I'm still just a couple of inches from the top, which is great. Some of my raised beds that I started this last spring have dropped 4 and 5 inches. So I actually have to go back during the winter and add some of those in, or add moist soil and compost at the top. So that's why I felt comfortable working in this particular bed. Now these foxglove will get full sun most of the day, but later at the end of the day is when they will get a little bit of shade, which works really well because if you're in our areas, you know that Texas sun is pretty intense in the afternoon. So they'll get shade during the hottest part of the day. Looks like I had a lot of success with the seedlings, more success than I've had in the past. I heavily seeded these when I started working on them inside. So I'm thinking that that was extremely helpful. Okay, those look good. I'm going to go ahead and plant the Campanula and then I will water all of it in. Okay, so we're going to be working over here. I'm actually going to pull up these feverfew. They ended up being a variety that was super short. Not really interested in keeping them. And so let me loosen up this area. I got some roots going on in here. I think those are left over from the zinnias that I just cut in here. I just removed. Let me just loosen this up. Okay, so my Campanula germination was not awesome this year. I planted 4 varieties, including lavender, white, pink, and blue. And the blue is the only one that got any kind of germination for me. So you can see right here, like I had a whole tray, right? And this is what I got right here. Looks like I have 1 lavender over there. But we're going to plant what we have. I enjoy Campanula. It is a biennial. So I don't expect it to bloom next season. But each one of these plants can produce quite a few blooms. A dozen blooms from one plant. Beautiful. Loved them this last year. And they bloomed. Of course, I had to wait 2 years to get there, but it was worth it. I think their foliage is pretty. It's interesting. And it's nice and full. So I'm excited to have it in my garden again, of course, in a couple of years. Let me get that one little lavender. Hook it right in the middle. All right. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of these watered in. Just a reminder, as you're watering brand new seedlings, we're watering around them, not over the top. We don't want the water to crush all the foliage. Everything's real delicate right now. I need a longer hose. Maybe I'll ask for one for Christmas. Okay, I'm glad I got that knocked out. I definitely think that foxglove is something that I'll have to stake along the way. I'm not super worried about that, obviously, at this point in time, because they're really going to be focusing on roots. And that's what we're doing for hardy annuals or cool flowers. We're planting them in the fall so that they can spend time growing roots before it gets super cold here for the winter. And then come spring, they already have a great root system established and they're ready to go, and you get blooms quicker in the spring. So looking forward to that. These look nice and fresh. And of course, I'm always happy when I grow them from seed. But let's head on over and I'm going to show you what perennial I'm going to be splitting today. Okay, so we're kind of chasing the sun right here, but right here I have a lambsear, and I'll put the variety down low. I don't recall what it is, and I love it, absolutely love it, but obviously it has gotten massive, and it's time for it to be divided and cleaned up. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dig this up. It's going to be a big mess, and I'm going to use my hoary knife to divide it into multiple plants, and then I'm going to put it in several different locations throughout the yard. Fall is a great time to divide perennials. You want to be dividing them about 6 to 8 weeks prior to your first frost. I've divided them up to 2 weeks before the first frost. Now, obviously, I have an unexpected little potential of a frost, but I don't think it's going to be deep enough to really injure anything or hurt anything. But anyway, so This is pretty. I'm not sure what's going on in here. There's a lot going on in here. I'm a little nervous. There might be some critters living here. But let me go get the shovel and we'll start doing some dividing, or dig it up and see what we have, and then I'll show you how to I'll divide it. We are fighting the sun right here. So like right here is sun, and usually right about noon is when all this comes into the sun. So we'll work quickly. Okay, a little messy, but I got it pulled up, and it's pretty easy to see like the root system and see the plants. And basically I'm just going in, just giving a little bit of a cut with my hoary knife, and then I'm dividing it out, and you can see multiple plants in here. It's a lot. I'm not going to keep all of these plants. I'm going to keep whatever I think is strongest. So I feel like this is a really strong guy right here. Then we have this guy over here, and I think he's two strong plants. So I'm just going to give a little shake. Where's my hoary knife? Give him a little divide. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now let me clean up some of this dead stuff. Now I feel like I have another good 2 plants. So I kind of feel like I can plant this together as one. And then I've got this guy over here. Okay. So I've got this guy right here. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. So I've got 3 plants that I'm going to work with. Now, I have an extensive root system going under here that is not the lamb's ear. It is my spirea. And you can see all the roots going in here. I'm not worried about injuring the spirea roots at all. They'll be fine. Let me go ahead and clear the space. I'm going to add some plant tone. I'm going to come in. Now, I do think I'm going to clean out a little of this inside part. Okay. All right. I'm going to tuck it in and start pushing all the soil up against it. And I think this is much more manageable over here, the size of this. I'm going to go ahead and pull out any of the leaves that don't look good, which sounds weird, you know, because we're just about to go into winter. Just because I want to, if this plant is having trouble with its transplant, I want to be able to tell. So I'm going to leave mostly fresh leaves on here. So of course the leaves will be the first thing we'll notice if it's having any kind of issues. All right, there we go, and we'll get this guy watered in really, really well. Okay, so I have it in 3 locations. One tucked under here under the spirea. This is a Ruby Falls Redbud. Another, and this was where the original plant was, another one tucked here. And then another one tucked here at the base of the boxwood. So the idea is I'm going to be utilizing this basically as weed suppression. So it will fill out this whole area, which will be really beautiful and cut back on weeds in that area. And you can also see the contrast of that color is really great with the boxwood and the buddleia right here, which will be really pretty. And then same thing over here. It's so dark over here, right? And you've got the Spirea right here, and this really adds a splash of a different kind of tone color, which is nice. And then, of course, going back to this other one, you can't really see it much of anything right now. But after this Spirea blooms in the spring, I cut this guy back dramatically, like by 60%. So you can see it tucked in there, and it'll go really nicely. And right beside it are my balloon flowers, which are pretty much bloomed out. But it'll look really pretty beside those. Also back here is where I planted that lemon meringue decadence baptisia from Proven Winners. So it should be super pretty. Okay, let's head on over to the boxwood and Spirea that I need to prune today. Okay, so right here I have a boxwood. This is one of the original boxwoods from Builder, because this is just, you know, a basic cookie cutter suburban house. And this is what I've been dealing with. See these limbs? And usually I maybe will get one a year. Out of this guy, you can see a massive hole. I'm not sure what's going on with them. I can see another one coming that's struggling. Anyway, you can see that it's definitely having some performance issues and a lot of dead going on in here. And I keep trimming it out and I keep getting more. I don't know if it's going to make it. We'll see. If it doesn't, then we'll plant in something else here. I do like having the structure of a boxwood here. I think it's really pretty. It's a little bit of formal without this like getting out of control, because you can see like the maiden hair fern over here is stunning, right? And then I have another boxwood there too, so it makes sense to have a couple here. I used to have a third one right here. Pulled that out. Now, right here I have a Spirea, and it is struggling. It has a lot of dead in it, which is kind of unusual for it. It just started happening this year. My guess is it's in regards to our drought that we had. And so what I wanted to do is I kind of just wanted to trim out some of the stuff that's in bad shape, just so I could have a better idea of like, hey, what's going on over here, you know? It looks like I have some new growth coming from the bottom, which that's kind of cool. I've got new growth right here, which looks nice. So I don't know, maybe trimming out all of this dead and allowing the roots to send up new growth, maybe that'll be helpful. Let me sit down here and get eye level with some of this. Yeah, maybe this will be helpful to clear it out a little bit, rejuvenate some new growth. But I definitely just wanted to, even the stuff that is growing right now, it doesn't look very nice. Also the problem with cutting all this off is, I mean, I'm cutting off all the blooms for next year. That's what's happening too. Okay, that looks a little bit better. It's going to be lopsided. It doesn't look the best, but I feel a little more confident about it, if that makes sense. Anyway, it's been in here 3 years. So anyway, let's see what this does for it. See if it rejuvenates it. I will be sure to make sure I pay attention and give it some additional fertilizer this next year. Hopefully that'll help out. Okay, it feels good to get that wrapped up. Several little projects, you know, dividing out the perennials, which is always kind of ends up being a little bit of a messy job, but I'm glad I got it done. I meant to do it last year. I didn't get around to it, so I am glad I got that done this year. Trimming back the Spirea and the boxwood that are struggling. I'll keep you guys updated on those. And kind of show you how they're doing. I'm kind of surprised at the boxwood, because boxwoods do pretty good here. Like I said, I typically have like one branch a year that maybe struggles a little bit, but we had an intense drought this year, rough drought. We had 30 days of like 100-degree temps. Like it is rough. So I did expect some stress. I'm sad it's like those like core plants, core shrubs. And then the Spirea, the double play red Spirea by Proven Winners. I'll keep you updated on that guy as well. I'm not going to be sad if it doesn't make it because I want to put the candy corn in there. I want that orangey kind of vibrant color. I will say that area maybe gets a little more shade, so maybe it's not the best place to put a Spirea. I don't know. We'll have to play with it and see. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's just list of chores. I hope you guys are continuing to work in your fall garden. If it's too cold in your area, well then I hope you enjoy watching me work in my fall garden, and I hope you're making plans for the spring. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.